Hello, and welcome to the Say Yes Movement Podcast with Heather and John, helping you with your professional and personal growth, helping you say yes to all the scary stuff. How's it going, Heather?
It's going great, John. It looks like you are traveling again. I love it when you're on the road and nothing gets in the way of us
Oh,
going live and being
no,
there for our
I'm
audience.
yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, I'm kind of happy. I'm done with the road after this week, so this is, one of my final days on the road for now, right? Like, who knows? Things might change in the next couple of weeks, but yeah, no, it's been great just being out and about, seeing different places. Last week I was in Thunder Bay and in St. Thomas in the same week. It's just been a trip. It's been, like you never know where you're going to end up. And if you were to tell me at the beginning of the year in January that I would be here, I would tell you that you're lying. Like, there's no way. I wouldn't believe it, right? So here we are. Yeah.
Here we are.
How was your weekend? How's everything on your end?
You know what? My weekend was good. I'm now looking at the calendar, and I'm sure everyone out there is doing the same, counting the weekends for getting the final things done for the holidays. Just when am I going to close up and really dedicate time to family? So
Mm,
looking at what days are going to be the off days, and I'll tell you, there's so much to do, like before the year ends, and including reflections, including goal setting,
mm,
including planning for the next year and getting big and bold with those goals. So I've
yeah.
been starting to look at my last year's notes at around this time, and I'm like, oh wow, like I was a future fortune teller back then, because most of the stuff on there came true, and I'm like, yes, please. All right, time to manifest some more.
Actually, you touch on a really good point. The one thing you talked about, when you look at your goals, your vision, I have, and maybe this is just me, but I feel like we're not going big enough, right? Like
Mm.
we had, you and I, we had this vision this year of going out and impacting 1 million people. And I don't know what the actual number is, but I know it's in the hundreds, if not thousands of people in terms of what we've been able to do this year. But we don't go big enough with our goals, right? We kind of keep them
Mm.
small. We want to keep them safe, right? We want to keep them manageable in terms of what we're doing. One of the things I have is Spotify. I think you have Spotify as well. And Spotify does this really great end of year reflection in terms of all the different musics you listen to, your top 10 songs. And what I didn't realize, I listened to 54 genres of music. I'm like, I didn't even know there was 54 genres of music to tell the truth until I saw it. And when I go back and I look at it, it's like, I've done so much through, like, even in my music, I've shifted, I've changed. My top song of the year it was by One Republic, and it's "Don't Worry." Like, I forget the actual name song, the title of the song, but it's essentially "Don't worry." Like, things will just work out. And we talk about the universe kind of conspiring on your behalf to make things work out for you, and that's the belief that I've been able to carry throughout 2023. And going into 2024, and I know we're going to have this goal setting workshop that's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. It's like, let's really go big, like so
Mm.
big that it scares you, like so big that it makes you cry, that if you actually get close to it. And
Wow.
when I think of that big goal, like we've done some really like we've done some really cool things this year. And it's because we just imagined, we went there, right? We went to a place we didn't think we could go, and we just,
Well,
you know,
and
we,
things that I actually resisted, John. So I think that's an important factor in all of this. Is I had resistance to
mm,
doing a podcast, and my husband actually had said a few times, why don't you do a podcast? And I'm like, I don't know anything about doing a podcast, and who would listen, and why would I do that? And then the nudges of the universe kept coming at me, and I would see influencers say, here's how you start a podcast, and then other people do, and then finally you nudged, well, I mean, you pushed to
I
say,
was
we're
more like
doing,
shoved.
yeah, a big shove of, hey, your calendar is clear, but you waited for the exact moment when I couldn't say no. And you knew that we were going to do this. You'd already put that into the universe. And I needed to become the person that believed it made sense. And so, if for listeners out there, if you have resistance to something that's so big, like John said, it's going to scare you, it's going to make you cry, that's probably the answer that we're saying to look
Mhm.
for. It's funny, I came back from my trip, and when I remember looking out of the sky, and it was just the most gorgeous sky I've ever seen, the stars, there was no light pollution. And the download that I had in my body and my brain was, it's bigger than you think. And I was like, whoa, like, what does that mean? And what I analyzed and what I reflected on is I was actually getting pretty stressed and anxiety about small, tiny activities, daily grind kind of things. And so I couldn't lift up my chin and look around and see the impact and the influence and how big it could possibly be. And as soon as I did that, as soon as I got back, that's what I did. I lifted my chin up. All right,
Mm.
can I go here? And I don't know what that means. I don't know what the how is. I don't know any of that, John. And that's what's so exciting. So,
Yeah.
yes to 2024 and going bigger than we can ever even imagine and stepping up to that version of us that we need to become. Because if you're resisting it, I guarantee you that's the place that you need to uncover the hood, open the hood and look inside right there.
Yeah, no, 100%. Two shout outs. I just want to say good morning, Gurpreet, and good morning. Somebody said you've made an impact on this person for sure, and thank you for that. Thank you for the comment. There's a line. There's a line. I forget the exact quote, but it's something along these lines. You're the greatest moments in your life lie in the things that you resist or avoid the most, right?
Mm.
And you don't need to, like, and really this is, I've been embracing, especially this year, right? I've been embracing not knowing the how, like just not knowing the how and doing and figuring it out. And I've always heard that my whole life, like, let go of the how and just you'll figure it out, and let go of the how, you'll figure it out. But this year has really been about letting go of the how, because I didn't realize, even for myself, how much attached to the how I was, right? I can't start something unless I know how to do it, right? And I learned, actually, and last week was the 1 year anniversary of me signing up to the Ironman event, this year. And I just go back to it, and then, like, I remember I just signed up, right? Like, I was working with my coach, and my coach was like, this really what, like, do you really want to do this? I'm like, yeah, I really want to do this, on my list. And so, okay, great, sign up for it right now, right? And it's the commitment piece. It's making that decision that takes you into that journey. But nothing happens until you say yes to you, right? You say
Mm-hmm.
yes to the things that, hey, they scare you, and you say yes to things that you've always wanted to do. Listen, the beautiful part is when you throw things out into the universe, into the world, the world will kind of support you, right? And I always had this thought, well, I'm on my own, I'm doing it by myself. And what I learned this year is that community is so important. And I was sharing this with somebody last week. I got to the point where it was no longer about me, right? And
Mm.
when you're going for that bigger vision, that bigger part of you, there's ultimately you're impacting and influencing so many other people around you. And if you
Mm-hmm.
just take a second to say, you know what, this is no longer about me. It's about this community. It's about my supporters. It's about the people who are encouraged, like total strangers coming out of the woodworks and saying, hey, you got this, you can do this. And I'm like, how do you not keep going? Right? Like, make it like public. There's two schools of thoughts when it comes to big goals. It's, you keep it private, get it done, and then you can, show off your success to people. That's definitely one way to do it. And the other way is just proclaim it, own it, and say, I'm going to go get this done. And then just show the
Mm.
world how you're going to do it. And, this is what I love about, when it comes to setting that bigger vision for yourself, especially when you're going into 2024, set a vision so big that other people are going to just support you as you go through it, because they want to be a part of that as well. Right.
Uh,
And you're
God,
inspiring others. Yeah.
let me tell you, that is so truthful. Many years ago, I created, that bucket list, that list of
Mm-hmm.
things that you want to do in your lifetime. And it was, there was alcohol involved, and it was a fun activity that I did with my sister. and I put it in my phone, and I sort of left it there. And then I decided that I don't want to finish a bucket list, because then it's like
Mhm.
done. Then what do I
Yeah.
do? And
What's
so I have a
next?
rule around my bucket list. It's kind of a cool rule that I have to do 5 things on my bucket list, and I have to add 5 things that I want to do on my bucket list. And really, if I do that, then I'll never finish the list. And someone else could pick it up and run with it, or look at it and
Mhm.
say, oh, I want to do those things too. Or people can join me for those activities. And whenever I talk about this list, and I have it on my phone all the time, it's a great conversation starter. But as soon as I show people some of the activities that are on there, people are like, I know someone. Oh, let me introduce you. Oh, that
Mhm.
person's this. And, like one of the activities is I want to wear $1 million worth of jewelry on a red carpet. Where am I going to be on a red carpet? And where am I getting $1 million worth of jewelry? So I'm putting it out of the universe that's what I want to do. And I know that superstars just get to borrow jewelry. So maybe I just walk on a red carpet in a jewelry store in a vault, and I'm still wearing $1 million. I still
Yeah.
get that. So, be fun with it, be playful with the things that you're thinking of, and tell people these crazy ideas that you have, because you have no
Mhm.
idea who they're going to know, what they could possibly link towards you. We're all 6 degrees of separation. And so telling people and talking about your goals means that you're going to create a community of other like-minded people that want to do the same, or want to be positively impacted by your thought process, your energy, your thought waves, and make it happen. And so, yeah, I'm never
Yeah.
going to finish. And I cheat a little bit. I'll be honest with you, John. Sometimes I do really cool stuff. It wasn't on the list, and then I put it on there. So my 5 things. Let me tell you, my whole trip to Mongolia was not on that list, but all of it was definitely added on.
No, listen, I love it. I love it. You talked about, people coming out of the woodwork, 6 degrees of separation. Actually, it's less today, right? With social
Mm,
media, you're like 3 degrees away from anybody you want to connect with in the world. And, when you set those crazy ideas, and actually, I was talking about this with somebody just this past weekend, was, that vision board that you have for yourself, right? Like what's on your vision, what's come true on your vision board, and what still yet needs to come true. And, when you share that vision with others, you're right. The people, the things that you least expect to happen, right? Because you don't even
mm-hmm.
know they're going to happen until you put yourself out there, right? It's almost like carving out a path that doesn't exist today, but the path has always been there, because now you've opened yourself to it. The path starts to open up. And this is why I love what we do in terms of say yes. When you say yes, you're opening up paths to life that you didn't even know existed,
Mm-hmm.
because you're saying yes. And think about this, 100, I think we're almost at 120 episodes of what we've been doing, and it started with one yes. And you made it sound like I was like really strategic about cornering you and making sure that I was getting.
No.
Listen, the vision was just to get out and share what we were doing together, right?
Yeah,
Like
you
we
didn't
were doing
really know
our
either.
own
You didn't
mastermind
really know
calls.
either.
Yeah. It, but the goal was just to share with the world, right? To create that positive impact. And it just comes down to just, you got to say yes. You got to say yes to
Mm,
this. Even the stuff you're like, shouldn't I? But if there's that gut feeling, right? And it's funny, when I asked you to do the podcast, it was just that intuition, right? Like, the one thing I felt like, what, we really need to share this with the world, right? The
mm-hmm.
world needs to hear this at this moment, whoever's listening in. And sometimes it's one person, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 20. There's thousands of people that have listened to it at this point. But, there was that little thing inside, Heather, we just need to get this out. We need to
We
like
just,
just put it out there in the world, right? Yeah.
I, I love,
Yeah.
I love it. I love what you're saying. I see those little, we become someone else, and then the
Mm,
opportunity opens up for us. And it's kind of like, you can sit in your life, and you can, drive your life, or think you're driving your life.
mhm.
But if you don't have a GPS, if you don't have a map, you're not going to get to the right destination. And, I also think of, the world as possibilities, but also portals. So just think, like, we have the magical powers to open up any portal that we want to walk into and become that person. But there's a bunch of things that we need to do right now in this portal in order to open up that portal. But portals are all around us. And I know that sounds all woo, but just imagine that, you're either looking through there's a wall in front of you and you can't see what's on the other side, but there is something on the other side, or you just decide to walk right through the wall and then see what's on the other side. But you need to upgrade yourself. You need to upgrade your thinking. You need to upgrade your energy and really become that person that's going to have access to that portal. So if you want more keys to your life, the best way to do it is a reflection process, setting the goals, and then taking action. Action, belief, those two go together, and that's how you get your results. And that's all the work that we're going to talk about in our webinar on the, what's the date, John?
14th.
On the 14th at 1:00. Come and join us. It's a free webinar, but it's also going to be a prelude for the 90-day coaching that we're going to be doing in the new year. And we're going to have a community that's going to do this activity together, because again, doing this together, declaring all these crazy things that you want to do, all the portals in the world that you want to open up and see, are going to be accessible to you, because we're going to get you activated in a different frequency.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm super excited. Like, as we're putting this together, there's just, when we take our last year, like yes, you talk about opening portals, but just creating the paths. Actually, the paths have always been there.
Yes,
right.
It's a portal is like an opening, like you open the door and then you can see it all.
Yeah, so it's incredible what you can open up, like the portals. We're gonna take all the latches off. We're gonna blow the doors off these things. We're just gonna blow right through them. And super excited to just be able to share that with the world. Like, just taking even just the last year, and it's amazing how far you can come in just 12 months. But we're gonna push you so hard that you're gonna be able to do it in the next 90 days. Ooh. I know. Good morning, you too. I just wanted to say hello.
I think is the answer. And we're going to talk about that resistance, because resistance is there for a reason. It's there because your beliefs, whether they be conscious or unconscious, whether they be yours or someone else's, are holding you back. And we're just going to test them and talk to that version of you that wants to keep you safe. And we're going to talk to them with a loving voice. We're going to talk to them with lots of curiosity, and we're going to invite them on the journey with us. That version of you that wants to stay safe, that's staying in the comfort zone, we're going to invite them to sit in the car. They're going to have access to the radio. They're not the driver. They can choose whatever song they want on their Spotify list, John, but they're not the driver. And we're going to let them sing along with us and join the ride. And, I'm talking very NLP. These are neuro-linguistic programming processes that John's laughing because he's like, no one knows what you're talking about, Heather.
I know what you're talking about.
And we are experts, and we will show you how to activate the GPS of your life in 2024.
Yeah, no, listen, it's about, anyways, we could spend a whole other podcast episode, just talking about, bringing those two versions together so they play and collaborate and do. Listen, we just, there's a part of us that wants to keep us safe, but that's the part that also limits us from moving forward. So when we can acknowledge that part and let it know that we are safe, then we can continue and move forward. Anyways, there's so many good things here. It's just, I can't believe we're talking about this on a Monday, but thank you, Heather. That's great.
It's awesome. So I think the call to action for everyone is, it's time to start thinking about the version of you that is actually 1 year older. So at the end of 2024, and it's kind of a time travel. If you were to time travel to the end of 2024, what would we be celebrating for you and with you? And, just one sentence of what you want to celebrate for the year. And that can help you look at all of the actions and goals that you want to set for 2024 if you've already seen yourself doing and achieving those things. So that would be the journaling exercise that I would give everyone. Call to action. This isn't long. This is a 5-minute journaling exercise, a half a page. Write down, what are we celebrating for you and with you at the end of 2024? And that is a great process to follow as we get ready for an amazing, powerful year. John, back to you.
Yeah, no, listen, I can't even tell you how excited I am about this. This is I'm going to say this is going to be some of our best work yet. That's all you need to know. Some of our best work yet. And if you've been following us for a while, you know it's all about that continuous improvement, and we're always constantly improving ourselves. So I'm so excited to bring this to the world. It's yeah. Anyways, you got to be there. We'll include a registration link below so you can check it out, and just sign up and join us on December the 14th at 1 p.m. and we're gonna take it to a whole new level. Whole new level. All right, that wraps up this episode of the Say Yes Movement podcast. Thank you for joining in, and remember, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. Wishing you all a great one. Talk to you all soon. Take care, everybody.